Sometimes we think writing a book means just starting and finishing, but there's a lot more that goes into writing a book. And you're probably, as an author, going to have to rewrite your book 3 times. That was very scary when I started out. I didn't want to do it. But let's chat to someone who's actually going through that process of writing and rewriting and getting feedback. Diana, thank you so much for coming onto the show again. Just for those people who are signing on for the first time, Diana is one of our book coaching clients. So she's just finished her first manuscript, and we have done some feedback, and now she's got to do the rewrites. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me back. So it's quite a journey, and I had a goal. In the previous recording, I did say I want to launch my book in September. Have I learned a big lesson? It's not that fast, because I thought I'm going to write it and it's done and it's going to be published, and no, much more hard work than I anticipated, but the journey so far has been absolutely worth it.
So we recently had your first big feedback session from your manuscript, and I had to read through the manuscript. I wrote copious amount of notes inside your manuscript, and I generally ask my authors to give me their manuscript with a single-sided print so that I have the left page available to write notes. Just tell me how you felt when you went through that first session, and be honest.
It was exciting, it was scary, and it was like, oh my goodness, what have I done wrong? There's a lot of emotions that also come up while you're going through the process. And then if I can just show the type of notes that Kim has made in the book. Some pages don't have notes and other pages look like this. I used to say to Kim, she's coloring my book. But it was eye-opening, because you see the book from a different perspective from what I see it. I've just told the story. You're now giving me information on what the reader actually needs from my story.
So one of the things that I often speak to authors about is the show, don't tell. What have you learned about that process when you're writing?
Don't just tell the story from here. Dig deeper and go find the emotions, go find the broader picture, the actual picture that happened when you tell the story. Because you don't want to just know somebody had walked down the street. You want to know she was wearing high heels, she was wearing a floral dress. And those are the things that I did not focus on while I was writing. I was just focusing on she's walking down the street. So I am working through it again, putting on the floral dress, putting on the high heels, and then making a better story that more people can relate to.
One of the other things about show, don't tell is something that I teach my authors to do is go to YouTube. Ask to see a specific kind of scene and look for visible clues that if someone is scared, that we're not just saying they're scared, what do they look like? How would they hold their hands? What does their face look like? Those visible clues that help people to say, oh, I recognize the emotion from what I am seeing and not necessarily what the author is telling me. And there are a couple of scenes in your book where I've asked you to start expanding. Now, some of those scenes are really difficult, very painful. How are you going to prep yourself to rewrite sections that could possibly be triggering emotions?
And that's exactly what I've done. It was literally just writing the bare necessity to get it in the book, because I didn't want to go dig deep into the emotions. But for it to have the power that I would want it to have, I really have to go sit and go back. And it might be emotions that I've blocked because I don't want to deal with it. But in going deeper and going into those emotions, it brings more and more healing towards me. So looking at the videos and stuff, I don't like looking at things like that because it is too real for me. But for the process of writing the book, it is a necessity for me to go watch those type of videos and see, oh yes, this is how I felt, this is what happened. And it just brings back memories that I have blocked. And then I can just write up more showing people what actually happened and not just telling them.
So another thing that is always very important is when you get to this phase and it's like, what did I sign myself up for? Now, like, my whole soul is being laid bare. That leads us back to what the purpose of the book is, because tough things are easier to go through when we know what our vision is, what our purpose is, who we want to help. Explain to us who it is that you're trying to help through this book.
Those people that are dealing with narcissists. Now, my story is from a female side, but it's not just females that deal with narcissists, because we have female narcissists as well. Anybody that's dealing with abuse. And abuse is not just like, okay, he hit me. No, abuse goes much, much further than that. It's the words they use and the actions, breaking you down. And I've put all of that in my book because I've been there. And when people read, the one chapter might not resonate with you because you're not dealing with it. But the next chapter might be something that is like, oh wait, this is my situation. And it can make them realize they're not the only people that go through it. There's a world full of people that are dealing with this. And we tend to keep quiet about it because we want to protect ourselves. And stop protecting the bullies. Stop protecting yourself. Put it out there, and you'll be amazed how much support there actually is on the outside.
I also feel that somehow the book can help people who have a friend or someone else that they love who are going through this situation to see things differently. Because one of the things that we discussed at our last session was the concept of trauma bonding, where people actually bond with someone that is creating the trauma, because it creates a certain cocktail of hormones inside their bodies every time there is this kind of abuse. And when you look at it from that angle, you realize that sometimes people who are going through that kind of trauma don't make decisions the way that other people would. So for us, we're sitting on the edge of our seat saying, when is the get rid of him moment? And when it's not happening, we're like, what the heck? But there's actually a whole thing that happens inside that person that almost makes it biologically impossible to leave. Do you feel that that is a real thing?
For me, it was, I didn't want to be alone, and I didn't want to be the failure. So I had to prove to my friends and family, I had to prove that I have a boyfriend, I have a man in my life, and I've got a good life. So I put on this facade all the time and acted like I was happy, but I was never happy. And just when I think like, okay, I have to get out of this now, he would do something good for me, something very nice. And I would like, but he's not that bad. If only every day could be like this, let's give it a chance. And then I would just fall back into the, so it's like being on a roller coaster, going up and down, because today it's a good thing, tomorrow it's like abuse, and then it's like a good thing again. So it's just when you think you're ready to walk out the door and call it a day, something good happens again. And okay, let me just get back on track here again, and I'll just play the game and I'll just go with the flow the whole time.
So essentially your book is really to help people to recognize that and give them some tools to move past it, that there actually is hope. But you went a bit further. You created a model that can help people as well. So besides the book, there's that extra layer of skill set. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I created the CAPA model. CAPA stands for Change, Amnesty, Play and Appreciation. We've got changes around us all the time. How do we deal with the change? We have to go look, what are the changes? What are we expecting from the changes? Amnesty, forgiveness. If we don't forgive, we carry a very heavy weight within ourselves, and we need to let it go. We don't forgive for other people, we forgive for ourselves. Play. How do you have fun while you go through all this trauma and drama, and you've got all this baggage that you carry around with you? Put it down, just have fun. And then the appreciation. We've got so much to be grateful for in life, and when we're in a low state, we can't even see the beauty of a sunrise or the cup of coffee we had this morning. We're not even grateful for little things in our lives. But if we start looking at what we can be grateful for, it's like, wow. If only I had realized at the time when I was going through the abusive relationship, how grateful I am for my friends. And if I'd realized that, I would have been able to open up to my friends and family much sooner, and my journey would have ended differently.
So one last question. If you were giving any advice to authors that are starting out on their journey, what would it be?
Pick up that pen and start writing. If you've got a story within you, share it, because there is somebody that needs to hear your part of life journeys.
Deanna, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, for telling people what it's like to be part of a book coaching program, and having the courage to actually write this story so that you can help others. Thank you so much for watching the show. Please remember to subscribe so that you can see what our next topic is going to be. And if you're wanting to get hold of our guest, please look at the show description below.